Hey everybody, it's Carol Belling and I'm your instructor for the Database Applications class, CTE 419, or you might be enrolled in 519. We teach them together. Here's the course syllabus, and let me just flip through here and see if there's anything specific I wanted to talk to you about. This course is a little bit different. To be honest, I think it's really awesome because it's really creative and gives you a lot of room to learn the database software, but also and decide how to apply it and then how to teach it. So I just think you have a lot of choices. Pretty cool. I guess this is probably unusual. You have a textbook. I would get the Kindle version because software updates too much to buy paper books, in my humble opinion. So I'd get the Kindle. It's also cheaper. And then these three people have great video tutorials. So I would say take a look at each one, see which one you like, and then use that as a supplement to the textbook. And let's see, these are the programs I use. I'm going to take Common Curriculum out. When I first designed this class last spring, which was the first time I ever taught it, I thought we would use Common Curriculum, but we don't. So any place that talks about Common Curriculum, you can just ignore that. I use Common Curriculum for all my other classes for lesson planning. This course is more about learning how to make a database and then how to teach it, but not specifically making a lesson plan. We do some screencasts and we do a curriculum map, which is different than making individual lesson plans. You would go on to make individual lesson plans when you were actually assigned to teach this course, teach a database course. All right, course calendars in Blackboard. One thing I do different than most is I do something called bonus time. And all that is it's an extra week of time. So I guess it sort of make due dates like soft dates. But here's how it works. We all have a life and things come up. And I don't want you to email me and ask for an extra couple of days on an assignment. You have a week. So every assignment has a due date. You have a week of what's called bonus time after that time to finish your work and turn it in. The catch is that you're not allowed to ask me about that assignment. So once the due date has passed, I'm not going to answer questions about an assignment. So you're kind of on your own for that week, but you do get that time to, okay, I was just interrupted. So let me try again. Bonus time. It's an extra week. So here's the deal. Every assignment has a due date. The due date comes. You have a crisis. You can't get it in, whatever. You have an extra week. You can do it anytime during that next week with no point deduction, but you aren't allowed to ask me questions about it. And I also feel like if you want the best feedback, you need to make the due date because I'm going to pull everything to grade on Monday. So everything is due on Sunday nights for all of my courses. Monday morning, I get up, I pull everything, and I grade first thing Monday morning because I want you to have the feedback immediately so you can continue on to whatever you're working on next. When you miss your due date, you're not getting in the group to get the consistent feedback everybody else is getting. So it's not going to mean you're not going to get good feedback. Um, I think you get better feedback if you get it in on the due date because I'm sort of in the groove and my mind is thinking about that assignment as I'm going through and grading them all. So that's one caveat to bonus time. Second thing is no questions. After the due date, you can't ask me questions about the assignment because I'm moving on. I got other stuff to do. But I think bonus time is a great way to be realistic about all of the demands we have on our time. So hopefully you can work ahead. Working ahead is always recommended. The entire class is open online, so you can work ahead. Everything is there. There's no problem with that. And then if you do have an issue or a time problem, whatever, you have that bonus time in case you need it. All right, everything else out here is standard stuff. You can read through that if you need to fall asleep at night. It might help. Okay, this is your course calendar. It is not, I don't know why that says retail marketing, but we should say data. I must use the format. Data. And that's not the formal name for the class, but I think we all know where we're going. All right, here's your time. Here are the tasks you need to get done in that time, and that's your final due date on the 26th. So next bit, this one's a week, this one's 2 weeks. Looks like most of your work is 2 weeks, which is helpful. Last week's pretty easy, just the culmination of grabbing everything and uploading it to TaskStream. One of the things about this course is that I've only taught it once before. So this, I kept the same order as the textbook. However, I have had people say, I wanted to learn forms before queries, I think was the one, where they're like, I wish I would learn forms before queries. And then I've had other people say, no, definitely queries before forms. So I don't care if you want to switch those two. And if you feel like you need to learn them in a different order, I'd love that feedback on the evaluation form at the end of the semester. That would be really helpful. So I can revisit that and see if I do want to change that around. But if you feel like things are not in the right order, you really want to learn reports before something else, I'm not going to give you a hard time about that. And the other thing that's really nice about this class is my enrollment is not 700 or 35 or 20. It's usually like 4. So when we have a lot of room for flexibility because we just don't have a big class. But I've broken it up into 2-week segments. So tables for 2 weeks, queries for 2 weeks, forms, reports, and then you pick something. So any of SQL, embedding to the web, whatever you'd like to learn. This one here for week 4 and 5, I think is really important because this is where you're going to spend some time thinking about what your database, what's the goal of your database, what is it facilitating, like what are you managing, what data are you managing and why are you managing it? Because that's really going to drive what you put in the table, how it's queried, how it's going to be entered, and what reports you're going to ask for at the end of the day. So if you can at all make it something real in your life, like I had one mom who did, she had to manage inventory for her kids' sports team. And so she built her project. Her database was all about that. I've had another one do playing cards, like baseball cards. I've had a chemistry teacher do inventory in the lab. So make it applicable to your real life. I mean, God knows everyone needs a database, right? Okay, so maybe that's just the techie in me speaking, but either do something that you would really use or do something that would appeal to your students. What would they get as a database? Okay, that's the calendar. I think that's enough. Let me know if you have questions on anything on there. This is the equivalent of coming to class. So instead of coming to class, you log on, you go to Common Curriculum. This link's in the Blackboard. And you guys are on Thursdays. So every Thursday you have a 1-week lesson plan. So I don't do it daily, it's just once a week. So you will click on this, and I like to go here to the day view. And you can see here's the objectives, everything I hope you'll learn in class, outcomes, how you'll show me you learned those things, and then procedures is like as if I'm standing in front of the classroom. But because I can't do that, I will make videos like this and I'll embed them here. So I'll either send you somewhere for more information or I'll provide you, oh, this is unclick. I'm going to pull this out. Okay, sorry. This is what I'm saying about that Common Curriculum or CC. That's where you're going to go to get your lessons, like what I'm showing you here. This is how I set up my lessons, but you don't have to learn how to use it or create your own plan book or anything else. So if you see that anywhere, take a snip of it and send it back to me so that I can strip it out, because I did start that way the first time I taught it. Anyway, you're going to go through here step by step, do all of that as if you're coming to class. I reiterate what's due. And then these are common links that you might need. And the textbook, I'll have to fix that because I actually have it in the next week. Okay, so that's week 1. Dang it, I hate it when I find mistakes this late on my planning. Okay, week 2 is the same as 1, so I just send you back to 1. Okay, I'm sorry, I pointed at the wrong place, but it was the same. 3 is getting you used to all my web tools that I use for communication and for organization. So if you go through here, yeah, okay. this is all correct. Here's your, like, coming to class, doing your work. It's a pretty light week. In this deliverable, I'll show it to you really quickly. It's right here. This is week 3 deliverables, and this is something I use across multiple courses. So when you come down here to using Common Curriculum, just leave it blank. I do want you to know how to do Weebly, Box, and Voxer, but that's it. Okay. All right. That's all correct. These are all wrong. And the materials one is wrong this week as well. I'll go through and fix that. After we're done. Week 4 is where you really start to get into your planning. So it's actually 2 weeks, and you're going to decide what your database is going to be about and sort of start to look at your curriculum framework. And I've given you a bunch of those examples. Oh yeah, in your Blackboard and announcements. I'll show you that when we get there. So as you go down here, you can see there's quite a bit to get started. Read chapters 1 and 2. Don't take that lightly. They are thick. So you're going to want to look at that for terminology. You might even want to read it earlier in the semester and use that in your Quizlet questions, which is part of your deliverables for 2 or 3, week 1, 2, or week 3. I don't remember. And then get an idea of where you're coming with. Here's the textbook information. I'll copy this one and make sure it's in all of the lessons so they all look the same. All right. So there's week 6, there's week 4. And as you flip through here, you can see, you just go right through and you can see the whole semester is already built. And it's also built for my other classes. If you are taking something else with me, everything's in one spot. So it's kind of nice. Or if you're going to take a class next semester, or next year, I mean, you can look at it here. It'll probably be very similar. But that's how that goes. So that is called Common Curriculum. The last thing I want to show you is our Blackboard course. So here we are in announcements. I'm going to turn my edit mode off so it will look the way you'll see it. It'll just take 10 minutes to load. Here we go. I'm going to update this link with the video I'm making now. These are all important things to know, so make sure you take a look. Here is the information on the textbook. This is what you want to look at here to get some ideas of the framework that we're talking about. You're going to make 3 things, right? A database, a curriculum framework, and a series of tutorials. So, I've given you examples of all of those. Here's 2 frameworks. The second one's a tutorial. This, how Emily used Trello to do her framework, was really interesting. That was last year. Obviously, I've only taught the class once before. So these are great. This is far better than anything I could teach you, learning from your peers. Okay, so this explains about Common Curriculum, and that originally it was going to be, you can use it if you want, but you don't have to. Usually my classes, we focus on making lesson plans, and I use Common Curriculum for that, but that's not the focus of this particular class. Okay, so that's announcements. You can read through all of those, get up to speed. Course content is where you're going to turn everything in. So this is like you're walking in and turning, dropping stuff in my inbox. So syllabus and calendar are here. Link to my plan book is here. And then you start right in on your work. There's your quiz, deliverables, survey, database planning. Let's take a look and see what this looks like. I'm thrilled because they only take an hour to load. Oh, I need to make these. Okay. Means I missed that in all the classes, which is fabulous. Okay, I will write whatever I need to write here, and then you guys will add your links down here below. So I'll go back to do that after the video. back to course content. You can see everything. These are all where you're going to put links for these specific items. Review of your project progress. So that's your database. What new features you learned. And then flip over to your curriculum framework and tell me what you added to your curriculum framework. And then a 5-minute tutorial that you would use in your class. You're going to do that for each one of these areas. So you have a little starting point in each section of your semester of teaching databases. Okay, that was a long video, so I'm going to stop there. Let me know if you have questions. I'm looking forward to a great semester.